Hello everybody, Bort here. So I got the double boiler up and going and got a couple different varieties of wood here. All pear wood, all Scion wood that we're going to process and then tag and then put into the refrigerator. The first one we're going to work with is the flowering moon glow. If you look, this one is probably one of my winners because it just had so much growth off it. So normally for a piece of Scion wood, you're going to take a piece that is typically about 5 to 8 inches long, pencil width, but the second piece is like a grade B. So you're going to take them about that big. Some people will take them, that's a very healthy looking piece. So just try to gauge all your wood to that size. So obviously you would take your biggest ones, cut those in halves, just so everything can fit in the same bag. You know. Now, no matter what, this would be considered like a grade B because it's not as thick or luxurious. But there are some in here which this would almost be an A, but it's like it's a B. So I'm going to split it right in half, and that's enough material to graft with Scion wise. Okay, so that looks all pretty healthy and good and stuff like that. But right here. Nice, no disease all the way around, nice color, nice thickness, nice length. This would be considered a grade A piece of Scion wood. So there we go. Everything's cut to size now. Just took a few pieces. This is moon glow pear, flowering moon glow. It's not the fruiting wood, it's the flowering, but that's okay. And then next we have Tarshish Beauty or Ukrainian pear. And this is, in my opinion, more valuable. So I'm going to leave bigger strands. And we got one grade A, one grade B, the second cut. We're going to leave that as a tip cut, but that's grade B. That one's a grade like C. You can see the difference there. This one's a grade A, I would say. So we got those two, and then we got this guy, which is, I'm going to cut him in half. He is a green Bartlett pear. This is all coming off the same pear tree because I grafted so many over. You just got to remember what variety is which. And then this is a Bartlett pear. And again, this looks like grade A material. And you got those end cuts like that. You got to be careful with that wax. That is some hot wax right there. So that's Bartlett. And again, this is like 16 inches. We're going to cut it right in half, right at the midpoint. And we got two grade A Bartlett pears. And then the final one, which I have a ton of this. I think it's red sickle, but I don't know. It's a red-green pear. It's very good. I always tell people I don't know what it is. It's a small red-green pear, very sweet. And every year it has an abundant amount of growth. And this is just, altogether, this tree probably had a meter of growth on every single one of these, verticals. I'm trying to shake the water off because I'm putting it into wax, So with these, you just get all your ends lined up and you pretty much just cut right through the middle. These are, this right here, I'll show you right now. I'll show you this. This one, you can see it from here. This is a grade A. Like, you couldn't get better. I mean, the color is so lush. The size is beautiful. I mean, it's over a 1/4 inch. So, 5 millimeters right there. And on the top end, it's just so flush. This is beautiful scion wood for grafting. You really couldn't get better than this one piece right here, which that one tree had so much of. But I wasn't about to get all the grade A's. What I did was, because I trimmed it up a couple days ago, I just grabbed what I could that was in the snow, because as long as this is in the snow and in the cold, it'll preserve the wood. What we're doing here is preserving it in the house, so you can use it in 3 to 4 months from now, and you can keep it quite a while. So how we go about doing a grade A, this is your bottom cut. I would go up to here. You hear that cut? That was beautiful. That's about a 8 to 10 inch piece right there. That's a grade A unknown pear, but I'm going to say it's like a red sickle pear. So you just want to make all your cuts about that size. Again, that's also a grade A. That one, little thin, but I would consider it like a grade B. You can see the difference there. Basically, it comes down to size, not even color or how well it's preserved, or disease. It's just coming down to size at this point. So anyways, this is a grade B. You see how thin it is? It's smaller than a pencil's width. Here, I'll show you a pencil. Bam, right here. So if it's smaller than a pencil, then it's not very usable, they say, for scion wood. However, that's how I grade it, is if it's smaller than a pencil, if it has disease, that all factors into grade A, B, or C for me. Not a lot of people grade them, but I try to grade them to give you a good quality standard. So that's grade B. And this guy, he's so thin, he's probably a grade C. And I don't know if I want to do a grade C, because not a lot of people want grade C's. And that would be like a D right here on top if I were to cut that. But that's like a grade C, but I really don't know if I'm going to use that. Again, your first cut right here, grade A, automatically. Second cut, grade B. Third cut, grade C. Bam, just like that, all in one piece. This is second year wood right here on the bottom, where it makes that little, where it looks rough like that. You don't want that. So you're going to automatically get rid of that. You don't want this piece. You can't graft with that. This, however, you can. We got a grade B and C right there, I'm going to call it. This is going to be 2 grade Bs. Bam, maybe a C and a B. Okay, first cut right here is a grade A. That's your best wood, is normally your lower cut. But that grade C is not bad. That's a pretty good grade C. So this is a grade A. Now, would I actually distinct these out? Not really, because I'm just going to hand them out as they are, right? Okay. So everything's been cut to size. So once you get that 8 to 10 inch range, this stuff is ready to go. You can see it boiling. So we're gonna put the safety on so you know it's all safe. We're gonna start with the moon glow. Very simple how you do this. Both ends, get the beeswax. So this is beeswax mixed with a little pine pitch, which comes off like a white pine tree. And that's basically it. So you dip it in. See that nice seal that formed? You can go ahead and look all the way around, encapsulates it, do the bottom. Now, sorry, this is the top. The top, you don't really have to worry about. The bottom, however, that now you can use from here up because you just wax that. I mean, it is organic. Technically, you can use that, but you know what I'm saying. There we go. Preserves that whole bud. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to this, I do like to point this out. This has an end cap, a bud, right? It's not like this one right here. See the difference there? This one on the bottom, I cut fresh, so I sealed it over. However, this one, naturally having that atypical bud, is already sealed. So why am I doing this? Just extra cautionary measures, that's all. So you're going to do that with each piece. Especially your more rare woods you want to take more care of because obviously there's more value, more trading value, swapping value in them. So obviously you want to take more precautionary measures to make sure they preserve and last longer in the refrigerator while you're trying to keep them until the grafting season. And also this is a great method. This is a great method for if you're shipping it out through like USPS or stuff like that, this will last in those bags for a long time. So once we're done this process, we take a damp piece of paper towel, couple pieces, make sure it's very squeezed out with the water, very, very light with the water, so not so damp, you know what I'm saying? And you wrap your variety in the paper towel. Again, very, very little water, enough to get the paper towel wet. And then you wrap all of your variety in there and then put it into a Ziploc bag. Write the date of when you put it through the process when you're doing this and what variety it is. So that way you can go back and say, yeah, I got this variety and it's been in the refrigerator this long. So then people know. That's all there is to it. And every once in a while, open up the bag, unwrap the paper towel, check it, make sure there's no mildew. And another precautionary measure that you can always take is this. You can get the 3% hydrogen peroxide. This same stuff you use on the skin to clean out cuts and stuff. You put a little bit of that on the paper towels, maybe even right on the Scion wood itself. That way, it takes care of the bacteria. The bacteria that may be on your hands. Make sure your hands are clean while you're doing this, obviously. You're trying to take a lot of measures to make sure everything's okay. You know what I'm saying? So this is how you preserve Scion wood for grafting. And this is just the last year's waste wood that you just pruned off your tree in February. That's all this is. So it's rather simple, you know? And then again, this is flowering moon glow. So it's not the fruiting moon glow, which there is. This is the flowering. So if it's a flowering tree, make sure you put that in the description. Or like an ornamental tree, or if it is a fruiting one, then put what variety, what kind of fruit, and that it's a fruiting tree, all in your Ziploc bag. So that way people can go, okay, I gotcha. Just because you could never be too careful, you don't want to mess something up and swap something that you don't know what it is, right? And again, you only need one layer of that wax, and it's so fast. It works so fast. When it comes to a piece like this, which looks like it has disease, don't even throw it on the floor. You don't want to risk the sake of the many for the one. And if it has disease, get rid of it. And it looked like a grade C, and that's very hard to graft because it's so thin on the cambium layer, unlike this, which is a grade A. It's beautiful to graft. But if it looks like it has disease, get rid of it. Don't even mess with it. And that's where the hydrogen peroxide, this stuff right here, takes care of some of that bacteria, just in case. It's, again, another measure you can use. And you know if you're getting good scion wood if people are doing this process. If you get this from somebody or a company, a nursery that sells scion wood, and they've done this process, and they send it to you in some type of moisture container with, you know, the wax on both ends, you know they're doing their homework. If they've labeled it, what variety it is, even the date they processed it, that's good business etiquette there. Right now we're just working all wood pair because it gets very hard when you have like 20 different varieties of 10 different kinds of fruit. And then you're like, what is this type? I don't know, I forgot. This is a grade B. Look at that. That's beautiful. So what we do, top real quick. Then the bottom. Bam. You see that? You can see the color difference too. That's the wax. And it dries fast. If you see any disease, just throw it out. Again, don't risk the sake of the many for the one. Just throw out the one. Even if you have a limited supply. But you're like, why? Because it's better to lose one than to lose all. And again, I really didn't have to wax that top because look at those buds. But I did anyways. Now when it's a piece this big, don't go all the way up because it's very thin already. And you want as much meat on that cambium layer to graft to. So you got to think about that ahead of time, especially if you're trading. Because a person is going to look at a piece like this and say, well, it's very thick down here, but they put the wax right there, so you got to think about that. You know, it's just a cautionary measure. I will admit this is a rather long process. But it's worth it. It is worth it. It takes a while to do this process, but once it's done, this wood will keep for at least usable 3 months, maybe 4. After that, it gets a little iffy whether it's usable, but for at least 3 to 4 months, it'll be usable that whole time. Some people say, oh, I've had it in the refrigerator for 7 months, and I go, oh, wow, really? How usable it is, though, you know? How is that cambium layer holding up? So, you know, that's everything you have to look at. That's a grade C. I don't really care for grade C's because you have to be very talented. That is so thin. Again, here's the pencil. Here's the grade C. You can tell. You can tell. This is the standard they go off, is about a pencil's width. And this is underneath that. Okay, we are done the flowering moon glow. Came out pretty good too. So now here's what it looks like when it's all done. You can see the tops and the bottoms all waxed over. Now we're going to move on to the Tarshish Beauty or the Ukrainian pear. Now for this one looks like it's a little diseased right here. So again, lose the one for the sake of the many. These look fine. Always check them ahead of time before you put them in the wax, because that can transfer that disease. These look good. Now I'm going to very lightly cap off the ends, not too much, so I have a lot of surface area to work with, because this is, in my opinion, a very rare variety for me, because I only have this much wood, less than a handful, to actually graft and swap. So I want to get as much out as I can, if you know what I'm saying. And I don't have any, I have grade B's and C's in this wood, so it's luckily I've been grafting for a couple of years, so I know how to handle such wood. But if you're a beginner, grade, like, you know, that thickness is just horrible to work with unless you know what you're doing. So there it is. That's all I got for the Tarshish Beauty. But I've heard it's a very good pear. And actually, the Tarshish Beauty and the flowering moon glow that I showed you came from one person, 2 different years in a row. So I got to thank you. God bless you for that. Next, we're going to do the green Bartlett, which is this guy. And look, I only have that much. I grafted it last year. This is what grew. I pruned it back. This was the pruning. Again, it looks like it's diseased, but maybe that's just the pattern of the wood, so we'll go with it. This one has a bud. I'm going to cap everything because, again, it's precious. And this came from a different person right here. Bam. Dry it off a little bit. Capped. So that's the green Bartlett. And then this is just like a... This is also a Bartlett, but this is just like a Bartlett, not a green. So we're gonna cap off both ends, let it drip. Now while I have this running, I really do want to go out and get the some Scion wood for the what do you call it there? The yellow northern star. And you're like, why? Well, because it's a wild crab apple that I have, and while I have everything here, but I want to get all the pear done first, then I'll go back out and get it. Okay. Now as far as this, what I believe to be red sickle goes, since I have such an abundance of it, anything small like this I'm not even going to keep. I know, you're like, that's so wasteful. I have so much of it. I have so much grade A's like this standing outside right now. Before, last year and the year before, I had a massive chunk like this that I processed like this. I didn't need it. So I'm being very picky with this because I'm like, I really don't need it. This is just for swapping. It's not even for my own use. there. That's a grade A, waxed off. That is a beautiful piece of wood. I'm going to try to get all the grade A's out. I don't even know if I'm going to do great, because this wood is so abundant, and the fruit is pretty good too. Look at how thick that is. That's beautiful wood graft right there. That's first year wood. That's not second year. Usually second year is that thick. However, when you get a good season of growth, you will get wood like this. God can bless you with wood like this if he allows the rain to be good and the snowfall to be good, then this will be evident. That's like a grade A plus. That's beautiful color too. It's amazing what God did right there. These are like grade B's. But you know what? They're perfectly fine for grafting. I just don't want any of the small stuff. And I really don't want too much of this stuff because I've had so much of it in the past and I don't use it. Just enough to swap. I'm not even going to graft it. But if I have it on standby and somebody says, yeah, I'll take some of that, bam. It's right in the refrigerator, ready to go. I can swap it. It's the only reason I'm keeping it. And if I don't use it, I'll just throw it out at the end of the year because I guarantee you that tree, God blesses that tree every year. So some trees don't grow as well, but that pear tree, it grows. And the fruit, it's fruited twice. Actually, last summer we had fruit off it. And 2 pears, not a lot, but hey, it was good. It was a blessing. Okay, there we go, buddy. Really, that's all I need for swapping power right there. And again, I'm checking for disease. If I find disease or dead parts, I toss it out. Because you want the best of the best when you're swapping. Because you want the person to know who you're swapping with, that you mean to have good business etiquette, good intentions, nothing bad, and that, you know, you're trying to do a very godly act in the sense of making sure it's the best that you can give them. You know what I'm saying? That should be the mindset. That's a great A. Sorry, that's beautiful, eh? That is beautiful. And we capped it off beautiful. You couldn't ask for a better. Thank you, Jesus. Really, thank you. That's amazing wood right there. And I've had people in the past who I've given this to, and they're like, it took right off, it did great. That's because of God. It's because of Jesus. Wow. Bam, just like that. You see that? There you go. Jingle round the block, it makes and a mingling, a jingling feet. That's the jingle bell rock. Oh, makes and a jingling feet. That's the jingle bell. That's the jingle bell rock. And the last piece. But while we have this running, I'm gonna go grab something in the refrigerator. So we got all the pear done. Got all the diseased wood on the ground. We're gonna throw that away. But first, So you don't have to wax the wood. You're like, what is this? A couple weeks ago, from my great-grandmother's house, I grabbed this wood, put it in a cloth thing. This is apple wood, most likely a Macintosh variant. Scion wood. And what I did was, when I was there, because I didn't have any pruners, look at the ends. I snapped them. But it's still good wood. So, first off, you're going to kind of let it dry a little bit there. It's not the best apple. It's a good size apple, red, yellow in color. Kind of tangy but sweet. It's a Macintosh. But it's the fact that it was my grandmother's. So I'm trying to preserve the wood for the family and for others. So this I don't know if I'll swap. But I definitely want to graft more. But I already grafted some, but so I'll label this as. And again, it's been a couple of weeks with no wax, but as you can tell, those ends are nice and fresh on both ends when I just cut them like that. So. That's second year wood right there in the beginning, so I'm going to cut right here. Again, second year wood, so I'm going to cut it right there. Why am I waxing it? Because I have the wax up right now. You might as well while you can. Again, that's a growth node right there. Don't know if you can see that. That's what we call a fruiting spur. So that's at least 2 years old. So you want to go on the other side of that growth node. Cut it. Cut this exposed end. You want the best of the best wood. And again, we're going to do the same thing here. All that stuff that we cut before, get rid of. Ain't that weird? Bam. That's some of the best stuff, okay? And by aerating it, letting it out of the refrigerator, it lets it get a little dry. So it's not so damp, so mildew doesn't build up. Then we're just going to go ahead, wax both ends. That's a little thin right there. I don't know if I want that. There we go. I'm looking for just good graftable material. Bam, right there. Again, it's Macintosh variant. It's not the best apple in the world. It's just it was my great-grandmother's when she was alive. And I've been trying the last couple of years to preserve the wood, the tree itself. So that way it's kind of like a memorial. Nothing to daunt at or worship over. Absolutely not. It's just kind of a sentimental thing. Not to be attached to, though. And I can hand it out to family members, graft it onto rootstocks. So February is the month for not only pruning, but getting your Scion wood, if you have it, processed in the refrigerator, labeled, and swapped all at the same time. One less one I have to do right there. Okay. That's all I'm looking for right there. Okay. Oh wow, 35 minutes and 13 seconds so far. Okay, we're gonna shut this off. I'm gonna go back, get the crab apple, but before I do that, I'm gonna show you the process of, this is not the full process here. I'm gonna put that there so it doesn't do anything. Okay, so now everything's waxed on both ends. Everything has been checked thoroughly for disease, for dead wood, all that good stuff. It's been sized, and it looks pretty much like this. It's been separated into its variety. Now it's time to do the next step. So you ready for this? Oh, it was a very good fun, people. The Downy paper towels are pretty good for this. This is all you're gonna need. There's not even a full roll. That's all that you need. And then I have the bags in the other room. 1 minute. And when I meant 1 minute, I meant 1 minute. Okay. I got these from the store a while back for this purpose. So 1 bag per variety. That's how we're going to do it. If you don't have bags, that's okay. You can use any sort of paper bag or any type of something like this, saran wrap or wrap or something like that, just to keep the moisture in. If you don't have paper towels, you can use cloth. You can use any sort of clothing material as long as it's clean. I've done an episode with that before. This is if you have it, you know. Okay. So very simple. We have the moon glow here. We are going to take our bag, label it with a Sharpie, And these bags are really good because they say date and contents. So today is like I have no idea. Valentine's Day is the 14th, right? So what, 13th? Yeah? It's not the 10th. I don't know the date. Holy Macintosh. Um, let's say the 12th. Yeah, we'll put the 12th. So we'll say February 12th, 2023, and we'll put flowering moon glow right on the bag. Let it dry a little bit. It's still hot. Okay. Now while that's drying over here, you're going to take 3 of the paper towels, fold it like that. Probably could take less. Put these in here. Again, everything's been capped off on the ends. Gonna wrap it around. Go to your water supply. Cover it. Squeeze out as much water as you can. You want it very damp, very lightly damp. So my water supply is right there. I'm gonna quickly, I don't know if you can see this or not. Turn it on. Go through. Okay, that's probably too much water. Start at the top. See how it's squeezing out? Work my way to the bottom. You can see it all squeezing out there. Shake it out. Because you don't want that excess water. You just want enough to keep it hydrated. Think of it like, well, like yourself. You know, you're always keeping yourself hydrated with water so your body's healthy. Same thing with these. They need to stay dormant but healthy. So once you do that, you're going to want the bigger bags. You're just going to go ahead and put those bags right in there. Bam. Most of the time, it'll end up on a slant like this. That's fine. You're going to go all the way to about there. Leave that little portion open. Take the end piece here, wrap it up. Right here. A little bit further back. Notice how I'm trying to get all the air out. You want very little air. Because air, and don't breathe or try to suck out because the bacteria in your mouth could actually harm the wood. So again, very little water, very little air. Put it in the refrigerator, 42 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. I'm very sorry, I don't know. Because I know a lot of you are on the metric system. And again, I apologize. I should know, but I don't know off the top of my head. And then you're just going to seal it up right there. And then if you want, if you have a rubber band, you can rubber band it, which I do have. I'll be right back. Stay right there. So I have 2 different types of rubber bands. I have your normal elastic rubber bands, and then I have these, which are UV protective rubber bands meant for grafting. Just use the regular ones when you're trying to wrap up like this. Just to keep it all sealed. Bam, wada, boom. That's the flowering moon glow right there. It's all labeled, ready to go. Do all your other varieties the same way, and you'll have a great time with it. Hopefully this has been informative for the Precious Beauty. Just going to use one single piece. Gonna fold it over like so. Because again, there's only this much of it. I'm going to put it in there. Look at that. Water supply it. squeeze out all the excess water that you don't need. So if you can see that. Okay. Trying to be very conservative. Okay. Bam. So this is Tarshish Beauty Ukrainian pear. And we're going to put the 12th. I don't know if it's the 12th or the 13th today. Kind of forgot. That's okay. So, I'm going to grab a bag. Get our hands dry. Oh, no, don't go in there, eh? Okay. Sorry, this fell into the toaster over there. So we're going to put 0 to 12, 23. And we're going to put Tarshish Beauty. Ukrainian pear. Just like that. This is the outside of the bag so I can blow on it. Not the inside though. Because that's where all of the, germs would fester up over time. So again, here it is. We're going to put it into the bag. And the bag helps seal it. Keep it. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about around here, eh? For almost an hour long. But, it's worth it. I hope you go through and listen to the whole hour. Because there's a lot of information. Wrap it up as tight as you can. Get all that air out. You want it as tight as you can. Seal up that zipper right there. And if you don't, and you just have like the zip lock where you have to press it, go all the way until about here. Do that whole roll. And then press it there. Then just take, again, I have a whole bag of the rubber bands because I use it for grafting. And again, you can get them, any store really has the rubber bands. Kind of like you're doing a hair tie, right? You notice how you just keep on going over like that? Not that I put a hair tie in my hair, but it's... Okay, so there it is. That just keeps it good and tight. And then we move on to the other varieties, and that's pretty much it. So once you get done with all your different kinds and varieties, once you get done to this step, you can put multiple groups in one bag, put it in the refrigerator. Again, refrigerators in the US run 42 degrees Fahrenheit around that area. That's perfect. That will keep these dormant until you're ready to use them or until you're ready to swap with them. And then normally in northern New York here, I start grafting April to maybe the first week in May. That's the grafting period. This year, however, I'm going to have to wait until the second week in April. Maybe. God willing, hopefully. We'll see. So, there it is. Hopefully, that's not too hot. I had the fire going, so you know how to... Hopefully, this has been very informative for you, so you know how to process your own Scion wood, so you can, in the future, God can allow you to do this yourself, so that way you are self-sufficient, and you save on cost. That's, yeah, and it's a very good practice to get into. I mean, if you're into the grafting, the pruning of fruit trees, this is just another part of it, really. Hopefully hopefully it's a blessing to you. Have a great and blessed holy day. God loves you. I love you. That's it. That's all I got for you. And don't worry, the video is less than an hour long. So there you go, eh? Yeah, Gordon out. Bye.